Hello, everybody. I'm impressed with the, amount of people here. It's great to see you. I mean, if I could see you. I'm Joanna. I'm an engineering manager on DeepMind Health team. And I'm here today to talk with you about, yes, on one hand, the rapid growth of the team and what is important in this rapid growth when you are team lead, tech lead, manager, maybe CTO of the company. But on the second aspect, more and more often, your companies will be working in more and more challenging areas and domains on the projects that are actually impacting lives of people, and not only in metaphorical sense, but actually being able to touch their life and change it. So that's why I would want to start from telling you a bit about the project we are working on, because I think it's very important to understand the environment in which this rapid growth of the team has happened. And then both the technical aspects and the people aspects, the things that I think we learned, and I hope that you will be able to think about them early on to prepare yourself and your teams for the rapid growth. So when we talk about healthcare, when we talk about healthcare, especially in the context of DeepMind or the high-tech companies, this is what people usually think about. Modern environment, a lot of equipment, everything happens magically. But the truth is, it looks more like this. That's still reality in a lot of hospitals. Even if they have modern health record systems, they would also have parts of the process that are happening on paper. They will have this mix happening. A lot of the systems that they will have deployed will be not necessarily operating well together. So even more importantly, can you spot a dashboard on this picture, right? So that's the real-time updated dashboard. Probably you have better tools for monitoring of the systems that you're running with than the one in here. Then we think about the communication. Communication is another super important aspect. The doctors make their decisions, and when they make decisions, they use either the knowledge they have, so they can make the decision individually, but more often than not, they actually consult someone. And when they want to consult someone, they have to actually talk with them or communicate with them in some way. Another test. Can you name the thing on the picture? That's actually pager. So for all of you who have never interfaced with such advanced technology, this thing is a very primitive version of a mobile phone. It can only display the number that is trying to reach you. So imagine the doctor goes into the theater, the operating theater, they perform the surgery, they get out of there, and on this device they see 20 pages. There is no way for them at this point to say who needs them, why they need them, what is the most urgent phone that they should reply. So they would just go one by one replying. And there might be someone who is actually dying on the other side of one of those pages. Finally, even in the leading hospitals, technology is not necessarily what it should be. So if you ask in the hospitals in NHS, the advanced hospitals in NHS, if they use mobile technology, they would say yes. Because the thing you see here is actually what is called computer on wheels. And this literally is a computer on wheels, so it's mobile. So now in this environment, and it's easy for me to joke, and it's easy for you to laugh, because most of us are actually working in fancy offices with all the equipment we need. Huge shout out to actually the people who are on the front line of delivering medical care and who have to deal with this 30, 50 years old technology on a daily basis, actually trying to save our lives. Having said that, we can do better. That's why in 2016, a team of a few people started to look into whether it's possible to deploy and create a mobile application that would deliver important information to clinicians, to nurses, to doctors, straight into their hands and improve the delivery of healthcare. The good news is, yes, it's possible. We are currently in live deployment in 2 hospitals in London, helping nurses and doctors to treat patients. What we are focusing on initially, that's another thing, it's the spectrum of what can be addressed with technology in healthcare setup is so broad that it actually, the first learning for us was we have to focus on something that is small enough and traceable enough that we will know if we are making a change. The team has focused on the detection and alerting about the acute kidney injury. So that's a condition that happens when you are in a hospital and for some reason your kidneys shut down. The problem with this condition is that it's actually quite common. It often happens as a second condition that you will develop while in a hospital. And even if detected and you will not die ultimately, you will end up on dialysis, which severely affects the quality of your life after the hospital. So what is important is early detection and actually reaction. Fortunately, the reaction is easy. It's sometimes enough to provide fluids for the patient. It's enough to provide antibiotics and coverage. So the treatment is easy. We have developed the application that analyzes the blood samples and lets clinicians know. And we see the impact of this application in clinical deployment. We'll be publishing the results of actually a year-long evaluation of the deployment of the application soon. So it's definitely possible to focus and deliver impact. We also noticed that simple fact of giving them the mobile application and giving them the information they need when they need it to assess the patient already saves them time. So one of the anecdotal evidence of the impact of our application is that they actually say they have 2 more hours a day to face-to-face conversations with patients because they don't have to run to use their mobile computer on wheels. Okay, so this is the application that the thing I'm showing you is actually what we developed across last 3 years in a close collaboration with clinicians. So we've spent long hours talking with them, analyzing prototypes, iterating. Across that time, the team has grew from literally a few people at start to over 150 at the moment. And if you think about it, this is significant growth. So from the startup to quite established team at the moment, what were the important aspects that we have learned to pay attention to, and I think will be applicable to other organizations as well? First of all, be super clear about the trades-off in technical design. My background is I studied computer science, and first 10 years of my software career I've spent at Google. Google's approach is often, very large scale. So you join the team and you start working on a project that already has millions of users. When you create a new design, you create this design with those numbers in head. You address hundreds of QPSs in your design. But when you are a startup, it's very different. When you are a startup, it's important for you to move fast. It's important for you to be able to evaluate the concepts and ideas that are coming from product, from founders, from users. And through that fast evaluation to learn and find your niche in the market. And fast evaluation and large-scale, robust design do not go hand to hand. If you are not thinking about it actively, what will happen is that you will start accumulating technical debt. And this technical debt is not something, that will go away on its own. This is something that actually have to be tackled. And there are 2 traditional approaches. One is to ignore technical debt early on, push as far as you can for new features, and then one day sit down and be like, OK, code red. Let's rewrite everything. The other approach is to actually constantly think about this technical debt that you're accumulating, and either through like sprints, like fix-it weeks, or through actually active effort and having the core team that is addressing the technical debt as you go, to make sure that it never accumulates so that it paralyzes you. Both approaches are good. There is no like one size fits all, but what is important is to be intentional about it. It's important to know the domain you are working in. It's important to have this time, either now or in future, that you will spend on improving the technical design of your system. And it's also very important not only for us as leaders, but it's very important for us as leaders to make sure that the team understands the trades-off we are making, so that everyone is on the same page and they are actually using the same strategy to deal with technical debt. Because ultimately, it is about being clear to yourself about how risk-tolerant and how error-tolerant you are. In the complex projects that deal with regulated environments, healthcare, banking, probably you cannot afford errors. You cannot afford taking the risk of leaking users' data. At the same time, I used to work on the e-commerce startup, and from product, the guideline was, we are totally fine to drop 5% of requests. And for me, as a software engineer, I'm like, what do you mean? But that is like totally valid trade-off that they were ready for. They were going for 95% of users being happy with the service, and that's fine. Second thing, from day one, you have to think about the quality, security, and privacy of the system. Don't put it for later, because it's not something that can be applied as another layer on the systems that you are building. Security and privacy is something that you build from ground up on. So you have to think about how are you dealing with user data? Who has access to those systems? How important the security and privacy is for your system. And usually, if the answer is you are dealing with user data, any user data, it's important. It's not that we can ignore it because we are writing Messenger. Messenger can actually, include a lot of personal information. It can actually impact people's life if that information is leaked. And even more importantly, if that's again, financial or medical information, crucial. So hire experts, even if that's just one person on the team who actually knows what they are talking about when it comes to security and privacy, have this person in-house. Include them in conversations. Ensure that they are not the person who is asked to just sign off on the technical design, but use their expertise. Hire external companies to black box test your system. Actually show that you are interested in them finding the vulnerabilities and that you are interested in fixing those vulnerabilities. Because if the error will happen and something will happen to the data that you are processing, you should be able to show that you care, and for that you have an evidence of all the actions you have taken to ensure the safety of the system. And finally, the slide I'll spend the most time on. Don't forget that at the heart of everything you do are the people, is the team that is building the system. It's the most important asset of your company. It doesn't matter what desks people are working on, and it doesn't matter on what laptops they are working on. It matters who is working and who is building this team. And I think that's the thing that is easiest to forget in the time of the fast growth. Because you started as a small team. You started from the place where everyone knows everyone and everyone trusts everyone to do the right thing. And you are just adding one person at a time, one person here and one person there. And soon you realize that you don't know some people on your team. And soon you realize that what has been the shared intuition no longer is a shared intuition about the team. So probably the first very important lesson is to hire responsibly. Whenever you are hiring a new person to your team, make sure that you really, really need that person. Just don't hire because you can. Don't hire because you have a next round of funding and we are sure, like with next 10 engineers, we know what we will build. You will, or you will lose focus and you will just start building things because you have more hands. Scrappiness actually forces us to be super, super sharp, focused on what is the most important thing. Then never lower your hiring bar. Sometimes you are like, we have the deadline, we committed to something, we took the round of funding, we need to show the progress on the project. We really, really need to hire people, and there are no people who are meeting our hiring bar. Though there are no people at the market at the moment. And like this person is like almost as good as we would want them to be. You will always be paying price of this person being almost as good. And be intentional about diversity. I think this one is the hardest, because it's very tempting to hire whatever is on the market. But think about the team you are building and the team you will actually be living with for another X years. Who do you want to have on this team? What is important for that team to deliver on? How can you ensure that you get the people that you want to have? Then there is the whole aspect of having this team and working with that team and not forgetting about a few important aspects. First of all, look out for the signs of the team burnout. Because when people are working on a super important mission, something they are strongly attached to, it's very easy for them to think, just to the next deadline. I'll just go crazy because we have to deliver that. It is important. And yes, it is important. But a month will change into a quarter, and a quarter will become a year. We have to learn, also on startups, to work in a sustainable way. We have to learn to work so that people can deliver and can live their lives at the same time. And in the same area, it's very important to monitor for the team's psychological safety. In the times of the fast growth, when you are adding more and more people to the team, and when the core team members that have been with you for a long period of time are extremely busy, because let's not forget, they are core people, and they are probably pulled in a lot of decisions and a lot of delivery. It's very easy to lose the sense of what is the culture of the team we are hiring to. Are people feeling actually safe? Can they question decisions? Because all that boils down to whether they will be building this team the same way as the previous team members have been building it. Whether they will be able to contribute to their best, or will they be afraid that they may get fired tomorrow. And let's not forget about how important it is for people to actually feel appreciated. Yes, everyone is super busy. Yes, everyone is running. Yes, everyone is contributing to this next big release. But at the same time, you have done this job, and that was great. And the other person has actually pulled the all-nighter and contributed to the team's success. And okay, all-nighter is just one example. I am definitely not encouraging people to consistently pull all-nighters. We should not have a hero attitude on our teams. It can happen, it shouldn't happen regularly. And then the last aspect, I would say, is around the communication. And it's not only about ensuring that communication is open and intentional. It's more about thinking how to scale your communication as the team grows. Because no longer it will be these 15 people of the initial team who will know everything and who will, even if they don't know, have enough self-confidence and at their position on the team to actually ask, where does this decision come from? So when it comes to communication, with the growth of the team, it's important to build mechanisms for teams to communicate across and for the roles to communicate across. So for the product to have a way to easily communicate with engineers and understand engineering trade-offs. For program managers to be able to be perceived as the source of energy on the team, not the ones who are like, when will this be ready? It's important to have a proper communication top-down, because there is an understanding of the vision and the mission of the company, but is it the same understanding across 50 people on the team? We definitely discovered that at some point we had the understanding, but that wasn't like, crisp, clear. And because this understanding was like, slightly blurred and the priorities were slightly blurred, people were making decisions based on their understanding, and those decisions were sometimes pulling in different directions. So working with the team, working with leaders, and making sure that the vision of the team is, of the group is clear, that the roles and responsibilities of team members are clear, is really important. And finally, ensure that the communication bottom-up happens. Ensure that you as a leader understand how your team feels, how people perceive the decisions. Do they have enough clarity? What is the next thing that you can actually improve on? Because otherwise, if this communication breaks down, you will have no clue. Your company will be growing, and you will not know what is actually happening on the ground. So with all those things, what I want to leave you with is, through all the time, be clear on the goal. Ensure that not only you and leadership know what is happening, but ensure that all the team knows what is happening. Communicate openly, be transparent, be clear about your intentions. I think I have to call out here Monzo as an example of brilliant open communication. I assume they not only communicate like this inside their team, they communicate like this outside of the company, which is bold, is brave. It's putting them in a position of vulnerability because, people can call them out of whatever has been published, right? But at the same time, for me, it builds amazing trust in the company that can actually do that. I'm thinking, it must be amazing to be on that team and have this clarity of how they approach things. Hire responsibly. Think about what you are hiring for, why are you hiring for, and think about it and write it down before you hire. So you cannot change your mind and alter your mind in the process because you face some difficulties. And finally, care for people. That's the only thing that will survive everything. The company may change the name, it may get acquired, it may get sold. The project may change, and you may decide to pivot from product A to product B. But if you have a strong group of people who can build things together, if you create the environment in which every single person on this team feels appreciated, feels a part of the group, feels that they contribute to their shared success, and most importantly, they feel they grow with the company every day, that is the biggest power that you have in your company. With that, thank you.